Can Mitch Marner silence Toronto? What's up? This is Technically Correct with Tyler Bischoff. On today's show, the Golden Knights no-showed in Boston last night, but today is much more important. Plus, how the hell is Rasmus Andersson not able to play for the Golden Knights yet? And can the Runnin' Rebels pull off another big upset? A big thank you to Battle Blast Las Vegas for sponsoring the show. Here we go. Mitch Marner will play his first game back in Toronto tonight. Marner ditched the Maple Leafs for the Golden Knights, and it didn't go very well. Marner's home address was posted online at one point. Marner's people have been accused of trying to bully media members. Wasn't a great end of that relationship. And overall, the failings of the Maple Leafs in the playoffs while Mitch Marner was there created a special kind of angst among sports fans. It's one where you know the team is good, they just keep failing in the biggest moments. It's way different from a team that's just bad and just sucks. I'd say it's probably a little bit worse when a team is good, a team is talented enough to win a championship, and they just fail over and over. It creates probably the most anger of any level of sports fandom. And now we get another big moment for Mitch Marner. Not really one in the standings. Golden Knights lose or Toronto loses. Not the biggest deal in the world to lose to a team from the other conference. But for Mitch Marner and for Toronto fans, this is probably the biggest regular season game on the schedule. Marner has already played against Toronto. It was in Vegas, so not quite as harsh. There were Toronto fans there booing him when he touched the puck, but not quite the same as what we're going to see tonight. And I'm curious, how does Marner respond to it, right? There's a narrative that Marner is bad in the playoffs, that he's bad in big moments, bad in tough moments. You know, if you look at the playoff numbers overall, like his points per game in the playoffs is 0.9. In the regular season for his career, it's 1.1, and you would kind of expect it to drop off because you're playing playoff caliber teams and only playoff caliber teams. I know the stat that's out there where he's it's 0 goals in 20 career game 5, 6, or 7s. That's a small sample size. I know, but it's a small sample size overall. So I know it's out there. So how does he respond to the booing, the jeering, the heckling that we're going to see tonight? That's gonna be a fun part of sports, right? Like, obviously you can cross the line. Posting Mitch Marner's home address online is crossing a line, but just fans booing, fans heckling is one of the best parts of sports. And I think it's going to be fun to see how Marner responds to that and how creative Toronto fans can be, how hostile Toronto fans can be. But this is what's fun about sports. We do it to cheer for sports teams and athletes, but also to cheer against teams and athletes that are playing against our favorites. It's great. I love this. So how does Marner actually respond in this one? We'll see. You have the star player leaves, makes it evident he doesn't want to play for your favorite hockey team, and when he comes back, you should be booing him. You should be yelling at him. I hope there's no holier-than-thou Toronto fans that are like, oh, we shouldn't boo Mitch Marner. He tried really hard for us. No, you should boo him. You absolutely should boo him. Again, don't post his home address online, but you should boo him. It's great. Me personally, I hope Marner has either the worst game of his career or the best game of his career. Like, I want 4 goals and 3 assists out of Mitch Marner, or just 4 horrendous turnovers that lead to Toronto goals. One or the other would be great. I think personally, best game of his career would be the better storyline, because one of the things I love about sports is player goes into the hostile environment and shuts them all up. Right? And then hopefully Marner gives us a little bit of trash talk or celebration or something like that. So I'd rather see the greatest game that Marner's ever played tonight as opposed to the worst. But I would enjoy one of the two extremes because that makes the story better. If he just has an average game where he has 1 assist and, kind of like what they did in the first meeting. Golden Knights come back and win in overtime. Marner, I think he had 1 assist in that game. It's not as much fun. But I hope we get something fun and exciting tonight and more than just the booing. However, Golden Knights played in Boston last night, and they took a couple periods off. I guess they wanted to be fresh for tonight in Toronto. They were mad at the NHL for scheduling this game as the second night of a back-to-back, so they said, we're only playing 20 minutes in Boston. They gave up 3 goals in less than a minute in the first period. 2 were shorthanded. Tomas Hertl takes the 4-minute penalty for high sticking, and then they give up a goal 10 seconds into the first part of the 4-minute penalty, and then 30 seconds into the second part of the 4-minute penalty, and then they gave up one at 5-on-5 just a few seconds later. Not great. But the Golden Knights in the first period didn't have a shot on goal in the last 13 minutes. They got down 3-0 and then didn't have a shot on goal for the rest of that period. They just didn't play hockey for an entire period. Second period was better. Wasn't good, but it was better than not playing. And then they were good in the third period, but most teams that fall behind 4-0 are going to play better than the opponent because the opponent's not trying to score anymore. They're just trying to stop you from scoring. That's how a lot of these actually go. Last night, to bring it back to Marner really quick, his line was particularly horrendous. Marner with Smith and Dorofeyev, when they were on the ice, the scoring chances were 7-1 in favor of Boston. They had an expected goals rate of 8%. 8. Not 18 or 28 or 38, 8%. And the Mitch Marner at center experiment, so far the expected goals rate is 49% since they moved Marner to center. There have been some moments where he hasn't played center. They've had other guys there, but not many. It's probably like 90% of the 5-on-5 minutes have been center since they moved him there. And the expected goals rate is below 50%. Before he was at center, he had the second best expected goals rate on the team, around 58%. Now it's below 50. And that's despite Marner at center getting 66% O-zone start percentage, right? Cassidy has talked about not wanting to put him in defensive zone faceoff situations. He's getting offensive zone situations and still not producing a very high expected goals rate. I wonder how the Golden Knights as an organization view that, especially with the trade deadline coming almost right after the Olympic break. You would think they need to trade for a center. William Karlsson might be done for the year. Brett Howden is currently hurt, but I think they expect him back. Like, you would think they'd need to trade for a center just so they don't go into the postseason having to play Mitch Marner at center. I think the idea of we can play Mitch Marner at center is fine, but having to play him at center because you don't have any other centers is probably a disaster. So I think they need to trade for a center, and how Marner looks at center so far, again, it hasn't been bad, but it's not good, right? They're getting beat more often than not when he's on the ice at 5-on-5 at center. Also tonight, we're going to see Adin Hill. This will be his third game back from injury. Hasn't been good so far. Like, the save percentage is .816, which is horrible. The last game, he gave up 2 goals on 17 shots to Philly, but both goals were breakaways. I mean, the Golden Knights basically gave Konechny 2 breakaway attempts, 2 shootout attempts in regulation. So, like, yeah, make a save, make a stop, that'd be nice. But okay, whatever. You gave up some breakaway goals. Don't give up the breakaways is the bigger problem there. But he did give up 5 to Toronto in his first game back. So it wasn't great in that other game either. Golden Knights could use a big goaltending performance, right? Haven't gotten one from Adin Hill. They're going to need Adin Hill to be a number 1 goalie if they're going to do anything in the postseason. And small sample size, right? He's barely played. He got hurt, comes back. But, like, we haven't seen it this year. He wasn't good before the injury either, and hasn't been good so far through 2 games. So a big performance from Adin Hill would be nice. Now, the other Golden Knights news, or lack thereof, is Rasmus Andersson still hasn't played. Bruce Cassidy said, he got asked about it both before and after the game in Boston, and it's a work visa problem. They can't get a work visa through immigration or whatever. And Cassidy said last night he might be able to play in Canada. Does it make a difference if the game's in Canada or in the United States? He was already playing for Calgary, but I don't know. Bruce Cassidy doesn't know either. He has no idea. So, like, can he play against Toronto tonight? I guess nobody knows. And here's the insane part, right? Zach Whitecloud's already played 2 games for the Calgary Flames. He has an assist. He has a point, and Rasmus Andersson can't even play. This trade was made last Sunday. And since then, Whitecloud goes to Canada, goes to a different country, plays in 2 games in Calgary, and Vegas can't even get Rasmus Andersson on the ice, right? Like, now they're playing in Canada and maybe, but Bruce Cassidy still doesn't know. And here's the thing. I went and looked this up. This is the 3rd time that the Golden Knights have traded in season for a non-American who was playing previously for a Canadian team. Because that's what happened here, right? If it was American, wouldn't need the work visa. And if he had been playing for a team in the United States, he would already have the work visa. But non-American, playing for a Canadian team, and the Golden Knights trade for him in season. It's happened 2 other times. Mark Stone got traded to the Golden Knights on February 25th of 2019. He played the very next day in Las Vegas. Nick Cousins got traded to the Golden Knights on February 24th of 2020. He played 2 days later, the next game, on February 26th in Las Vegas. Both of those times, the player was ready to go in the very next game. What is going on? Like, what's happening? Is this genuinely a problem because Donald Trump doesn't have immigration control running as smoothly as it should be? Is that actually what the problem is right now? Because why else would he not be able to play in these games? Why can he not get a work visa? Is there some detail about Rasmus Andersson that we don't know? Or is it because Donald Trump and whatever the hell is happening with immigration is a complete disaster that they can't even do work visas? Canada can do it for Zach Whitecloud. He's Canadian. But Canada can do it. What? The United States, we can't do that anymore? We can't do work visas anymore in a timely manner? Bill Foley donated to Donald Trump. I thought the whole point of donating to presidential candidates was so they did what you wanted them to do. What was the point of Bill Foley donating to Donald Trump if he can't even get his hockey team to have a player ready to go? It's pathetic. Stop murdering people in Minnesota and get Rasmus Andersson a goddamn work visa. Coming up next, it's Bischoff's Brief. We're going to get more into the NFL because there are more coaching hires, but not yet from the Raiders.
Battle Blast, been serving Las Vegas since June 2012 with the very best in family entertainment. We are proud to provide the best facility, equipment, and service possible. Strap on laser tag vests, step into the 5,600 square foot 2-story arena designed to look like a worn-torn city street. An exciting atmosphere filled with exhilarating music, blacklight effects, and fog. Battle Blast also features a viewing deck for those not playing can watch players vest up and catch a view of the action going on in the arena. In between games, check out our arcade and prize center and enjoy tasty treats from our snack bar. Birthday parties, sports teams, group outings, and corporate events. Battle Blast does it all. We want to make your Battle Blast experience so good you'll want to return again and again. Battle Blast is the ultimate destination for family fun and friendly competition.
If you listen to this show, support this show, thank you. I appreciate it. I've got a Patreon, by the way, if you want to support me a little bit more. Patreon.com/technicallycorrect with Tyler Bischoff. We've got bonus content up there at Patreon, but it means a lot to me to have some sort of support, whether it's from you as a listener through Patreon or whether it's through a sponsorship. And Bischoff's Briefs is brought to you by Battle Blast Las Vegas, the best laser tag in Las Vegas. I cannot say thank you enough to Battle Blast for sponsoring the show because these are the types of things I need to make all of this happen, to make this show happen. So check out Battle Blast. It should be your next spot for your event, kid's birthday party. I keep telling you, take your coworkers there, do a corporate event. If you're a boss, take your coworkers there. Go see who's better at laser tag. You can do it for your own birthday, whatever it is. They got arcade. They got some prizes as well. It's Battle Blast Las Vegas, located at 8125 West Sahara Avenue. Your next stop for fun in Las Vegas. In the NFL, Jesse Mentor is going to be the Ravens' next head coach, as I slap my desk. Mentor has been the Chargers' defensive coordinator the last 2 seasons. He followed Harbaugh from Michigan to the Chargers. And in those 2 years, the Chargers have had 2 good defensive years under Mentor. I think it's interesting that the Chargers are going defensive-minded here, which probably means if they're going to be a real contender, they've got to hire the right offensive coordinator to make Lamar Jackson and that offense one of the best in the league. But the more interesting part on this, from the Raiders' perspective, Jordan Schultz reported that the Raiders were, quote, in on Mentor until the end. Pretty vague what that means exactly. Don't know. Pretty vague. But it sounds like he chose the Ravens over the Raiders. Maybe the Raiders weren't at a point to actually offer the job because they're, I don't know, waiting on Clint Kubiak or something like that. But it certainly sounds like he chose the Ravens over the Raiders, which is not all that surprising. I think I've said this before. The Ravens are the best job that's available. If you're going to come down to the Raiders and Ravens, I'm taking the Ravens, right? So not all that surprising, but it does sound like he did choose the Ravens over the Raiders, at least according to the way Jordan Schultz reported it. But more funny on this is the way it gets reported on the Cleveland Browns, because Mary Kay Cabot, before Mentor took the Ravens head coaching job, or at least before it was reported and announced and everything, Mary Kay Cabot tweeted that Mentor had canceled his interview with the Browns for their next head coaching position. Which is just a great way to do it when it's like, oh, he's taking the Ravens job, but we're not going to tell anybody that yet. Just tell everybody that he canceled his interview with the Browns. Mike McDaniel also turned the Browns down for their head coaching job, and he did it to be the Chargers offensive coordinator, even though, by the way, quick also, side note on that. Why it's being like reported he's not officially the Chargers offensive coordinator, because if he gets offered a head coaching job, he might take it, including the Raiders head coaching job. Like, what a bizarre scenario. Good for Mike McDaniel, right? He's got a job in place, offensive coordinator of the Chargers, but he might be able to take a better one. Terrific work by him, but like very weird to have this like he's going to be the OC of the Chargers unless somebody else offers him a head coaching job, but not the Browns because he already said no to them. Very weird. But we've now had two coaches say no to the Browns publicly, or at least it's been reported publicly, which is hilarious to see. So what we have right now in the NFL, Buffalo, Arizona, Cleveland, Pittsburgh, and Las Vegas are still open. But Tennessee's hired Robert Saleh, Jesse Minter to Baltimore, John Harbaugh to the New York Giants, Kevin Stefanski to Atlanta, and Jeff Hafley to Miami. Those are the positions that have been filled. Those are all defensive guys except Kevin Stefanski, who's going to Atlanta. The Raiders, I'd put it this way. I don't think the Raiders have missed out on many targets that I think they should have been interested in hiring. Kevin Stefanski is one. I think Kevin Stefanski would have been a good and interesting hire offensively. But like even John Harbaugh, I do not think the Raiders should have gone or been interested in John Harbaugh. It doesn't sound like Harbaugh was ever interested in the Raiders anyway. But as good of a coach as he's been, I don't know that the Raiders should have been after John Harbaugh. Like, if you're the Raiders, I don't think right now you're worried about Robert Saleh or Jesse Minter or Hafley or those guys taking these jobs, even though you don't have a job and other coaches are getting taken. I don't think any of them are that great. And I think part of the problem, maybe this will be proven wrong 4 years from now, and we'll look back and say, wow, all these great coaches got hired. But this seems like a bad coaching class. Like, are any of these options like, oh, yeah, we absolutely wanted to have that coach? Like, do you think you're going to look back and be like, wow, we missed out on Robert Saleh? I don't think so, right? Like, Harbaugh's got the long time history and maybe it works. And you're like, all right, John Harbaugh. I think Kevin Stefanski could be good, but it wasn't good in Cleveland. Again, I don't think it was really his fault, but we saw it and it wasn't good. So it seems like sort of a bad head coaching offseason, bad year to be looking for a head coach. So it might just turn out that it doesn't matter a whole lot who the Raiders wanted because they're all bad. You can't hire a good one anyways. It is championship weekend in the NFL. We're going to get Patriots, Broncos, and then Rams and Seahawks on Sunday. We are going to get Jarrett Stidham playing quarterback for Denver. Easy path for the Patriots. By the way, I should have double checked this. I saw was that on Reddit? This is going to be the first game the Patriots play west of the Mississippi River. The schedule facts about the Patriots is hilarious. They had an opponent's win percentage of under 40% this year, which is funny. The only team in the league that was under 40%. They didn't play a game west of the Mississippi. So that means every game they played was in one of two time zones, Eastern or Central. And now in the playoffs, they've had basically as easy of a run as you could possibly have, right? They played the Chargers. Justin Herbert's got a broken hand. The rest of that team's beaten up too. They played the Texans and C.J. Stroud. Like, the Texans were fine this year, but if you were going to pick a divisional round opponent, the Texans are pretty damn high on the list. And now they got to play the 1 seed and they got to go on the road, but it's Jarrett Stidham at quarterback. It's so, the Patriots might win the Super Bowl and we'll just be like, yeah, they didn't beat a good team the whole year. They won the Super Bowl, but like not one of those teams. I guess like Darnold or Stafford would have to get hurt or something like that for that to be true all the way through the Super Bowl. But like, it's great. If they go to the Super Bowl and lose by 40, Oh my God. They're going to be like they're going to get the least amount of respect a Super Bowl loser can possibly get if they go to the Super Bowl and get blown out. But I think I'm cheering for them to go to the Super Bowl just because Stidham and the Broncos in the Super Bowl, not going to be fun. Denver's defense is really, really good. So like it probably won't be a blowout in any of these games, right? They play a lot of one-score games where Bo Nix just has to be good for like 2 drives, and that's how they win. So it probably won't be blowouts, but it probably won't be fun. So I think I'm cheering for the Patriots to do so. On the other side, Rams and Seahawks, this is the real Super Bowl. Do we believe that? I don't think I do. I don't know that I do. I do think it's the 2 best teams, but the Patriots can beat one of these 2 teams in the Super Bowl. Hell, Jarrett Stidham and the Broncos might be able to do it as well. But I do think they're the 2 best teams. And NFC West was best division all year. Now we get 2 teams playing in the NFC Championship game to go to the Super Bowl. I think the Rams are the most fun team left to watch, so I'm hoping LA wins, but Seattle's been a fun team to watch as well. Their defense is excellent. They do have some big plays out there. Kenneth Walker, I guess if you're a fan, it's probably not true, but Kenneth Walker is one of the more fun running backs in the league to watch just because Kenneth Walker doesn't just run up the middle for 3 yards. Kenneth Walker is going to try to run for 70 yards. He might lose 16 in the process, but he's going to try to rip off a 70-yard run every time he touches it. So they're fun too. I don't mind either one of these teams actually being good, actually winning something. They'd be a fun team to watch in a potential Super Bowl. Hopefully not against Jarrett Stidham. Also in the NFL, I love this. PFF putting out some mock drafts. They have one for the New York Jets in their picks, and it has them taking Trinidad Chambliss in the first round. Jets have 2 picks in the first round. Second overall, they were taking Arvell Reese, the defensive end out of Ohio State. And then at 16, that was the Colts pick they got for Sauce Gardner. They took Trinidad Chambliss from Ole Miss, and I love it. Here's the problem for me. I need to work up the confidence to say Trinidad Chambliss will be better than Fernando Mendoza in the NFL because I want to do it so bad. First off, I think Trinidad Chambliss was a better college quarterback than Fernando Mendoza. If Ole Miss defense had picked off Carson Beck on the game-winning drive, or if his special teams had blocked the punt for a touchdown, Ole Miss would have been in the national championship game too. They would have beaten Miami. But I think what it comes down to is like where do they end up, each of these quarterbacks, and what coaching staff are they with, right? I'd give this example for Trinidad Chambliss. If the Rams drafted Chambliss in the second round and said, hey, you're going to replace Matt Stafford in a year or 2 when he retires, and Sean McVay is going to stick around, I would be like, Trinidad Chambliss is going to be awesome, right? Chambliss is going to be incredible if he goes somewhere where Sean McVay is the coach. If the Vikings drafted him, he's beating out J.J. McCarthy, and Kevin McConnell is going to make him look great. But if he goes somewhere where it's bad offensive play calling or just a bad organization, right, like the Browns or whatever, Chambliss is like, might not even see the field. Like, it's going to be bad. Mendoza's got a higher floor than Trinidad Chambliss, and so he'll be a little bit more insulated from a bad coaching situation, a little less reliant on a great coaching situation. But I still think it's true of Mendoza. I think we're going to judge his career largely based on how good the offensive play caller is for his first 3 to 5 seasons, however long it is that he sort of gets this run out to start for the Raiders. If the Raiders make a good hire, they get a good offensive play caller, they find their Sean McVay, Mendoza's probably going to look really good. If they have a bad play caller, then we're going to see bad quarterback play. We're going to see Sam Darnold of the New York Jets instead of Sam Darnold of the Vikings and the Seahawks. But let me see where they go, and then I'm going to come out and tell you that Trinidad Chambliss is going to be better overall than Fernando Mendoza in the NFL. But this has been Bischoff's Briefs, brought to you by Battle Blast Las Vegas, the best laser tag in Vegas. Host your next birthday party at Battle Blast. You can book the party package where you'll get a private party room, dedicated party host, pizza, soda, arcade tokens, and obviously laser tag. Plus, kid's birthday party, you want to play laser tag, you can add on and a game for the adults as well, or just book it for your own birthday. It's Battle Blast Las Vegas, located at 8125 West Sahara Avenue, your next stop for fun in Vegas. UNLV plays San Diego State on Saturday, 1 p.m. start at the Thomas and Mack. San Diego State's coming off a loss to Grand Canyon. They kind of got screwed on a foul in the final seconds. They were up by 1. and Grand Canyon got 2 free throws off of a foul that was not a foul on a layup attempt. But I do find it very, very funny that Grand Canyon, the team that San Diego State and Boise State threw a fit about joining the Mountain West, have already beaten San Diego State and Boise State this season. It's pretty great. But UNLV, they are having a very interesting season. Not necessarily a good one, but an interesting one because they're playing really well right now. And this is after a start to the non-conference schedule that basically ended any chance of going to the NCAA tournament outside of winning the Mountain West tournament. But Bart Torvik, good website. Check it out. Bart Torvik has a game score for every performance, 0 to 100, to tell you how good that game was. And for example, when UNLV lost to Tennessee State, their game score was a 21. When they beat Memphis, their game score was a 97, right? So this team's been up and down all year. We've seen some terrible performances, some good ones. UNLV's worst performance of the year was the 30-point loss to Wyoming. And they got a game score of 5. So one of the worst 5% performances of the year of any program. Horrible. One of the worst games that UNLV basketball has ever played. Since then, UNLV's played really well. They lost their next game to Colorado State, but the game score was 63, which is their best game score in a loss this year. And then they won 3 straight with game scores of 77, 85, and 94. UNLV has played really well in 3 straight games. Now, and it's gotten better, by the way, in 4 straight games. It's unlikely they have a performance better than 94, right? Because that's the top 6 percentile of all games played this season. But the way UNLV has played the last couple of weeks, it is like a Mountain West contender, right? What we've seen in these last 4 games, the loss to Colorado State and the 3 straight wins, that is a team that can contend at the top of the Mountain West. Yes, overall, the Mountain West schedule for UNLV has been very easy. It's the 3rd easiest strength of schedule so far among just conference games. So yes, it's been easy, and they're 5-2, and part of the schedule, or the schedule is a big reason for that. But again, the last 2 weeks, they've played like a real contender in the Mountain West. So what do they look like against San Diego State? Because what we've seen this season is the most up and down team that I can remember, meaning they could be awful against San Diego State. This team could look like, oh my God, Josh Pastner needs to get fired now. None of these players care. They just did that to Wyoming. That wasn't that long ago. Or they continue playing how they have for the last couple of weeks, and they look really good. They might still lose, right? Like Colorado State. San Diego State's pretty good. You could play well and lose, but they could look good in this game. Could win it, could look good and lose it. I honestly do not know what to expect from UNLV because of how up and down it is, but at least as of now, there's some reason for optimism for how good this team is. Again, it doesn't mean a whole lot for the NCAA tournament, but maybe you find a way to get a bye in the Mountain West tournament. Grand Canyon's in now, so that means there's one less bye, right? You find a way to get a bye in the Mountain West tournament, and maybe you win the thing for once. They never do win it. They never even make it to the semifinal. They're never even close. Maybe you make it, let's start there. Maybe you make it to the semifinals of the Mountain West tournament, and there's like, oh my God, they're 2 wins away from the NCAA tournament. Let's start there. That could be a lot of fun. Now, an important thing that I got to keep track of now. UNLV, in their win over Utah State, shot extremely well from the free throw line for a team that's horrendous on free throws this year. But in that game, Tyron Jones, who's the worst free throw shooter on the team, Tyron Jones pump faked on a free throw, and it drew a lane violation. Now, the lane violation didn't matter because he made the free throw, so it was irrelevant. But he did a weird pump fake, everybody fell into the lane, and then he made the free throw. Very bizarre. He pump faked, pointed that they made a lane violation, and then shot the free throw and made it. But here's the key. Since that pump fake, UNLV has made 84% of their free throws, obviously all in one game. There's only 3 teams in the country shooting over 80% from the free throw line. Like 84% as a team is unbelievably good. So since that pump fake, unbelievable at the free throw line. Before the pump fake, as a team, whole season, 68%. If this team is all of a sudden now good at free throws because Tyron Jones pump faked and got a lane violation and they all now click to make free throws, I'm going to be on it here, right? Tyron Jones, by the way, individually, before the pump fake, had made 44% of his free throws. After the pump fake, 82%. He was 9 of 11 after that, by the way. Kind of insane. A 44% shooter went 9 of 11 at the free throw line after that. Ridiculous. So maybe it's just Tyron Jones. Maybe it won't be the whole team, but he does attempt the most free throws on the team. So if he, instead of shooting 44%, starts shooting 75%, just like 65%, which is not good, the team percentage is going to go way up because 44% on your highest volume is just absolutely horrible. It's terrible, but that's what Tyron Jones has been doing this year. So UNLV and San Diego State on Saturday. Hopefully UNLV plays well and wins another game, right? It's fun to see this team win. So we'll see what they look like against San Diego State, but they got a home game and they got a chance to win 4th in a row in Mountain West play. Thank you for tuning in to Technically Correct.